Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission: to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Alien frequencies open, and welcome to Star Trek Discoverage, the live podcast that boldly goes into excruciating detail about this week's episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I'm your host, Aaron Coker, aka Caliban, and I want to know how many of Pike's stories start with, so I have my phaser out, and I tripped over the guy's pants. Joining me on the show, as usual, is my co-host. She's also the co-host of the Generations Geek podcast, a more or less family-friendly celebration of geekdom. It's Ella Pearson. Ella, welcome back to Discoverage.
Thank you.
And we are here tonight to talk about this new series of Star Trek that is on, another one, if you can believe it or not. This is the part of the show where we talk about the news in the world of Star Trek. But I thought maybe we could loop back a little bit and talk about some of the news stories that we missed in weeks previously as we were rushing, to get Picard Season 2 done, and of course the premiere of Strange New Worlds. And I was wondering, did we talk adequately about the announcement of Season 3 of Picard featuring the return of the main cast of The Next Generation? I don't think I got your take on that. I don't know if we did.
That might have gotten lost in our Mission Chicago trip.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I hope that we have like a nice, I think that they could really do something really just like a beautiful story with the actors that we know and love. I hope that it's good. I hope it's not too, I think it's easy to fall into a fan service trap with something like that. And I would rather something be a little bit more authentic and a good story than like exactly what we want to see, which would be a little, unsatisfying.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think that, you mentioned fan service. I mean, it's designed as fan service, and I think that's okay. I wonder how we've talked about this with Picard. Of course, obviously the writers had to struggle with this with Picard. Like, how do you put the period on the end of the sentence of a character? Certainly for Picard, a guy who is getting old, the actor is getting old, but like, what's the last thing that you want to say about Geordi LaForge, about Beverly Crusher, like about these characters? I was reading an interview with Jonathan Frakes. I think it was a recent one, but it might have been earlier, where he was talking about how he liked the fact that we don't come back and see Troy and Riker on the Titan or something like that. He liked the fact that we saw them in a different place, because this is 30 years. Even Riker would retire. He'd be done with Starfleet at some point. And then, of course, it helps that we get to see them in Lower Decks doing their thing. So, So what is the last story that we want to tell with all these characters? I don't know. Knowing, as I know you do, of course, but myself as well, knowing a lot of Star Trek authors who have spent their entire careers telling those stories, and then having to kind of, Wesley Snipes, meme kind of get rid of, or at least bring to a close the pocketbooks version of the universe. It's like, okay, we did it. So like, now what are those stories going to be? And theoretically, you won't have a lot of time to tell those stories. It'll be one season with these 7 characters. But yeah, hopefully they can find like a good, stopping point, or at least a point to say, this is the next adventure that they're going on. Much in the same way that TNG ended with All Good Things, where it's like, they're not going anywhere. I mean, they're going to the multiplex, but they're not going anywhere. They're going to be playing poker, and they're going to be doing their jobs and exploring strange new worlds, for years and years to come. So hopefully we can get a little taste of that again.
Yeah, that's what I want too. Mm-hmm. I would like, even if it's not if it's not a period at the end of the sentence, that's fine. But a little check-in, see where we're at.
Yeah,
that'd be great. I think it could just be just as satisfying as I was pretty moved by, the Data stuff in the first season. I think they could do something equally as meaningful.
Yeah, everybody gets put in a computer, and the computer gets turned off. So it's
Sure, why not?
Beverly's listening to a song, and she goes down. So that's exciting. Of course, we've got a ways to go. I mean, they've shot, I think, most of it, if not all of it, out. But we'll have to wait for them to fit that into their schedule. Who knows where that's going to be? But in the future, also there was a bit of a flap last week or the week before when it was announced that the character of Robert April would appear in the first episode of Strange New Worlds, and that he would be played by an actor of color. He wouldn't be an old white guy like he was on that cartoon.
God forbid.
Yeah,
right?
And some people predictably had a bad reaction to that. And
it's just a bad day to be a racist.
Yeah, it's not.
That's what it comes down to.
It's not going good for the racists, is it? At this point, you just kind of like ask, really, people are still making a stink about this. Do you know what I mean? I think we did talk about this at some point or in some form, didn't we? Because I remember specifically saying, and I don't want to let these people off the hook, but I honestly don't think that people that complain about this actually really care about this. I think that they have just made their brand, their team not liking new Star Trek, and so this is something they can do. And like when you're part of a club and you look around and you're like, oh, we're arguing about a racist thing. Maybe I need to be in a different club. And it doesn't have to be the like new Star Trek club. Make a third club where it's like, I'm just not going to be like a racist, but I don't like new Star Trek. It's unfortunate that we find ourselves in a position where we have to have an argument about this. But as far as his appearance went, I thought he was great. Like, I wasn't really familiar with Adrian Holmes, but he was definitely like, we needed a guy who could kind of boss Anson Mount around, and I thought it worked out really great. He's like, yeah, you got to get out there. So I hope we see him again.
Me too.
Have you seen? Oh, of course you have. You saw Doctor Strange last week, so no spoilers.
I did. I saw
no spoilers for Doctor Strange, but
of course not. I saw my first midnight premiere, as it were, in
really? Okay.
Many years, not forever.
Sure.
But since a couple years before the pandemic started. So it was, and my friend who went with me had never been to a premiere, so it was really fun.
That's nice. Well, in that, like I said, no spoilers, but maybe we find somebody else who could boss Anson Mount around, and it might be a captain from another Star Trek show. But that's about as spoilery as I want to get with that situation. Just quick review. What'd you think of the film? Me too.
I thought it was a little, right? It was a little you kind of walk out and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
There was a lot of it that I really liked. I think, obviously, America Chavez, fantastic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it where I was like, what's going on? And then it was over.
Yeah. It's hard to know. From my understanding is that, the guys that did the last one, the director and writer, they exited relatively early. So, they brought Sam Raimi on and the new writer. And so this is their vision for the most part. I don't think there's like some other film that's buried in there, but yeah, it's just like, it seems to characterize these phase 4. Is that what the phase is? These later Marvel movies where there's a lot of work going on that isn't necessarily having anything to do with like what the story of this film is. It's something that's kind of reflected, I think, in new Star Trek, where even we're seeing in Strange New Worlds, which is more episodic, they're still trying to build out that long story, that meta story. And that's kind of taken over a lot of what happens in, Marvel movies. I can't imagine trying to see it and like, I didn't really see WandaVision. So what's going on now? What's this movie about?
That's what I was about to say. I was going to be like, can you imagine seeing that movie without having seen
Somebody
WandaVision?
did.
Like, it would just be like, what's wrong with the lady,
Somebody must have, but they're just relying on that total, media control that they've got. So, I thought it was okay, but like a lot of the later films, which I have not revisited, I don't know if I'll revisit it anytime soon. Maybe, we'll see. If I want to see, I can't, spoilers, I can't say who I want to see. But hopefully good stuff for the future. The only spoiler I could have is it just be like, just look at the camera like that, right? Somebody's talking.
It is hard to talk about it without giving any spoilers.
Yeah, like that. All right. So anyway, no spoilers for that. Let's spoil the hell out of this episode, the second episode of the new Star Trek series, Strange New Worlds. It's an episode called Children of the Comet, and we're here to talk all about it. But first, as always, a warning, listeners. We are heading for the spoiler zone, so be warned. We're glad you've decided to join us, but if you haven't seen the episode, spoilers are incoming. The official synopsis for Children of the Comet is, while on a survey mission, the USS Enterprise discovers a comet is going to strike an inhabited planet. They try to reroute the comet, only to find that an ancient alien relic buried on the comet's icy surface is somehow stopping them. As the away team try to unlock the relic's secrets, Pike and Number One deal with a group of zealots who want to prevent the U.S. Enterprises from interfering. That's a very long synopsis. That's the script. The episode was written by Henry Alonzo Myers and Sarah Tarkoff. The episode was directed by Maya Vervillo, who is a familiar name, of course, from previous Star Trek shows, new Star Trek shows. The star date for the episode is 2912.4, and this episode features a couple new things, a couple new actors. Bruce Horak appears in full in this episode and has lines as Chief Hemmer, and Alex Kapp is the voice of the USS Enterprise computer in this episode. And let's talk about trivia for this episode, and really for the series as a whole at this point. In the episode, we see the Persephone system. That's where the action of the episode takes place. The Persephone system would later be visited by the USS Enterprise D in the episode Too Short a Season. That's where they pick up Admiral Sweaty and his wife from that planet. So going way back to the first season of TNG. Also, this is interesting. In the episode, Pike reveals that he knows the names of the cadets that he will save in this accident that's in his future. And one of those cadets lives on Tendara Colony, which is the future birthplace of one Annika Hansen, a.k.a. 7 of 9. So don't tell me they have access to Memory Alpha, at least. They're digging deep down into some of the facts here. What else is going on? A lot of new actors have appeared in old roles, of course, in this new series. This is the first time with the release of Strange New Worlds that 4 Star Trek series have aired in one calendar year. So Prodigy, of course, Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, and now Strange New Worlds. So that's a new record for Star Trek. Alex Kapp is the 6th actress, the 6th actor, I suppose, although she is an actress, to play the voice of the computer. Jess Bush is the 3rd person to play Christine Chapel. Celia Rose Gooding is the 3rd person to play Uhura. Yeah, that's correct. Also, of course, Dr. Mbenga is being played by a different actor now. This is. Do you count the cartoon? I guess this is the second time that somebody's played Robert April. So we're doing that thing where, God, remember like years and years and years ago, where people were like, "So what do they do? Do they just like recast? Oh, I can't. Who's this guy who's going to play Captain Kirk? Oh, the guy from Heroes is going to play Spock. Oh, let's see if this works." Well, you know, it's all bets are off at this point, right? If you want to tell these stories.
Remember that magazine photo shoot they did?
Yes.
Where they were like standing and the camera was way up here. It was like groundbreaking. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, they're
Kirk
so short.
And new Kirk. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's really cool. And of course, Arlene Martell, who plays T'Pring, is technically the 3rd actress to play T'Pring, because we see Spock is looking at a baby picture of her in Amok Time. It's this little girl in ears. So that's the other actress, I guess. So yeah, I mean, it's exciting. You can't say that there isn't a lot of new blood in Star Trek, and I think that's great. Let's talk about Children of the Comet. What did you think about the episode Children of the Comet?
I thought it was good. I really liked it. I thought it had a lot of both, like it felt like TOS in a way, but it also had more of sort of new Trek. I thought it was a little long. I got lost a little bit somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it, and one of my favorite things to do is watch with a roommate who isn't usually a Trekkie, because they always have like a different hot take, and I got to watch with my roommate, and that was super fun. She seemed to like it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree that it was long, and I enjoyed it overall. But I think that it's hard to say. You come out of the gate, you got that on pilot script. You're spending a lot of money. You've worked it over again and again. So what do you do for your second hour? And a lot of people have talked about how Trek pilots aren't that great a lot of the time. And I would argue that Trek's second episodes aren't usually that great. So I thought that The Strange New Worlds, the pilot, was really great. And I think this is probably kind of on par for what you'd expect for a second episode of a series kind of getting rolling. They didn't do the thing where they immediately... Well, they did actually kind of. It's long, I think, because they do the thing where they sort of slow down a little and dive into everybody in the ship, and we meet them some more. But then they've got this other, plot going. And I did think that it was kind of long. And I thought that it was really plotty, too. But I think that is, as far as the makers of the show is concerned, a feature and not a bug. You have those, like, very good-looking sequences where the Enterprise is maneuvering, and it's going in through the tail of the Comet, and the other ship is going. And it's like, they look great, but they go on for, like, a really long time. And at this point, 55 years in, like, I get what they're doing. Like, I've never been somebody who needs to see all the ships flying around and...
Oh my God, hang on. Oh my God, the cat jumped on top of the flat screen, and I was like, it's going down.
There's nothing up there.
Oh my God, I thought the cat and the TV were about to hit the dirt.
Yeah, old-timey cats had it made. They get up on that TV, it's warm.
I know, right?
Future cats, yeah, they're out of luck, yeah. So I thought that the plot was like really literal and straightforward, and so I kind of had wished that there had been more of a B plot. I love the fact that they focused on Uhura, and I like that got integrated into what their mission was. But then it's like, okay, but if there's no B plot, you can wrap it up in 45. And I think they wanted to show off their computer graphics, which look great. But like I said, I was like, all right, well, we get it. Like, this is flashy and neat, but I don't need to see this.
I had that same thought during the, what was it? The Ortegas maneuver.
Yeah, the Ortegas
I was
maneuver.
like, okay, I love that first shot where the Enterprise is, what's it called when whales do that? When whales shoot up out of the water?
When they breach?
Maybe?
Yeah.
Anyways, I love that initial shot, and then I was like, okay, we've seen this before. I love it. It looks great. But let's get to I want to know what's going on. Show me Spock in the shuttle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because they're kind of repeat that with like Spock in the shuttle flying through the debris, and I just think that like pick one of those things, but it wasn't poorly done. Like it was really good, a good sequence.
It was gorgeous. Yeah.
Did you? So I have a podcast called Backtrekking where we talk about the inspirations behind Trek episodes, and sometimes we are pairing Trek episodes with Trek episodes because Trek often revisits things that it's done before, storylines or like story elements. And they did this exact same thing in Fight or Flight, the second episode of Star Trek Enterprise. They find a weird alien ship. They don't know what it's all about. They have Hoshi, their communications officer, who honestly...
Love Hoshi.
She doesn't know. She never really wanted to be in Starfleet, She has other plans. And she has to figure out what the message is in the alien ship or they're in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's kind of the exact same thing. So look for this episode and Fight or Flight to be paired in a future episode. Or possibly we could also pair it with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, because there is a definite element here in which they're playing up. I like that they're playing up like the fact that Uhura is musical, but they really make it literal, where like the alien ship runs on show tunes or whatever it is, and so they're singing to
That's
the
what
ship.
I run on
and
at work.
it's singing back. Yeah. So all good elements, but very maybe self-consciously, but like very Trek familiar. This is the Trek neighborhood we're in here.
Yeah, like I enjoyed it. I think it would have benefited from a B plot. Maybe just because of the length. I don't know. I still think it was solid. I had a really good time. I thought a lot of it was really funny, which I really appreciated because I feel like in TOS there were so many lines that were just there like to be funny. Like the gang's goofing around. Yeah. Like Uhura is teasing Spock, or like McCoy is cranky, right?
That's why I say that Ortega's is the new Sulu, not just because of the flying, but because she's like the one that's like, oh boy, I don't know about this. Yeah. Yeah, I really like that aspect of it. Remember the short Trek Q&A where we see Spock come aboard the Enterprise for the first time?
I think I do.
He sings in that episode, right?
He does.
Did he let his singing kind of like lapse? Because in this episode, he's kind of, because, Uhura's doing all this stuff with the music, and it's like, all right, I figured this out. And it's like, come on, Mr. Spock, sing. And he's like, blah. It's like, you were singing, but you play the lyre. Are we going to find out that that Uhura is the one that inspired him to pick up the Vulcan lyre. And
maybe that's also classic, not only classic Vulcan, but classic Spock though too, to be like, oh, I don't really do this. I don't know about all this, and then not try. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. And then he busts out the opera once they're back in the what was that room they used to hang out in TOS? They were just like chill with their feet up or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And play the lyre, do a little dance.
Play the lyre, do a little dance. Play a little chess.
Play a little 3D chess.
Put a future floppy disk into a future computer.
Right. Yeah. Put a square in a computer and hear a readout. Yeah. So speaking of rooms where everybody hangs out, we see Pike's quarters again, which has a fireplace in it. How does that work?
I would have a fireplace.
It smells of rich mahogany. Like he doesn't like holograms, so I'm assuming it must be either practical or he's made an exception. But he doesn't have a real fireplace in his. It's like a ski lodge. His quarters are like a ski lodge.
It is. I was watching this episode and I was like, Tumblr is gonna have just a heyday
for sure. Yeah,
a heyday. Yeah, I was like, I don't even know if I wanna like you said the mahogany, earth, wood, fire, smoke. I was like, okay, can we like please? And I was like, it looks like Anson Mount just walked on set. Like
it looks like they're shooting in his house. Yeah.
In this episode, in that scene, Anson Mount was playing himself. Yeah. My roommate was like, I love his athleisure look. And I was like, I think Anson Mount just walked on set like that.
Right, yeah. No, I need a smaller apron. Yeah, he's got
a little bit, and then the leather straps on the apron, essential.
Yeah, right, yeah. It's dinner at Zaddy's, yeah.
You said it first, not me.
But
we were all thinking it though. I
wonder if that will become the Enterprise, rec room, or the TNG 10 forward. So. Will it be dinner at Pike's?
I wish it would.
New hangout set.
Somebody should open a restaurant.
Yeah,
can I tell you something? Can we go off topic for a second?
Yeah.
There's a TikToker I follow. Her name's Brittany Broski. Okay. She's pretty big on TikTok. And she posted a TikTok the other day from a bar that was covered in like TNG LCARs. And I was like, and it was like the weirdest crossover I've ever seen in my life. Like this TikToker that I follow for like making dumb Harry Styles jokes or whatever, just being funny. And then she was like, POV, the aliens come, and I'm like, beep boop pop up. And I was like, what are you doing? Anyways, dinner at Pike's, dinner at Brittany's. Yeah. Brittany's there.
Yeah. You gotta have the little alcove. You hit a button, and then like a hand sticks a drink in there. Take the drink out. I want to go to that bar. I liked too that he's. We also get the scene. It's just forget that it's in space. It's just a dinner party scene. Like they even have the scene afterwards where he and like Una are like washing dishes and putting the dishes away and everything. And like
the star of the show was Spock's long sideburns.
Oh my God, yeah, the long squiggly sideburns.
Why are they so long?
Well,
Mr. Peck, with respect, you tell him to
maybe
dial it back on the Vulcan sideburns.
Another 10 years or so, the style becomes to kind of then sort of angle them off. Angle them off.
More of an Earth sideburn.
It's a acute angle. It's more logical. I like too that I guess like there's like a forest behind them, so I guess that you can turn the windows to like a holograph just or images. That's a neat thing. Oh yeah, just like the Hunger Games. Wait a minute. Crossover.
Hang on.
That all of his scenes with Una all focus on this idea of him being obsessed with this fate. And I thought that it was really one way that we always like to fix things that they could have fixed the episode is at the very end of the episode, which you do in a short story, but maybe not in a TV show. They introduce the idea that like, oh, the Comet knew. The Comet knew the whole time. Like the Comet had a prophecy and it knew. It's like, okay, but what if that happened in like the first act and then we're sort of like, like the aliens are like telling just trust us, like no that's not what we do, and then later it's like, oh okay, I guess sometimes we're wrong. But I did
feel I thought that our man Pike, respect for me respectfully, not for him respectfully, I thought he was being a little disrespectful.
Okay, yeah, I can see it. Yeah,
like I feel like they were like, this is our religion, and he was like, stupid. cult.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. For a show. Well, I wonder how, speaking of, in terms of how like messaging goes on this show, like last week they proved that it's like, oh, there's no metaphor. Like it's just reality. Like here's the reality. But then in this episode, it's like, oh, these guys are fundamentalists. But at the end, it's like, oh, we should have listened to the fundamentalists. And it's like, interesting. Very broad-minded. Very liberal of you. Okay. Is that the message you want to... It's
getting pretty liberal in here.
Yeah. Well, anyway, whatever. But it turns out the Comet was right. And so that's kind of like technically it's a pairing because he's worried about this prophecy and there's this Comet that seems to sort of know what's going to happen. And so we don't really focus in on him because at the end of the episode, he seems like he's in a pretty good place. But we could see that as like him going, see, prophecy's prophecy. So I am going to die in 10 years. There's nothing I can do about it. But it seems like they really are.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because Pike, he doesn't die.
Well, yeah,
he gets put in the box.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of beeps and boops in my future.
Exactly. Does he think he's going to die, though? Like, did he see himself in the wheelchair in his vision?
He saw that in Discovery,
but I feel like last episode he said something like, and he implied that he was going to die. And so I'm wondering, like, does he think he's going to die? Like, does he know that he lives?
Well, he knows so much about this event. Like, he knows the names of the now very young kids that he's going to save, which he can look up on Facebook and go, these kids look like they're doing pretty good. It's like,
that's
no,
exactly what
Daddy
I said.
Pike, no.
Like, they got the kids on Federation Facebook.
Get your kids off Federation Facebook.
Why are there pictures up there? The kids doing a little stock photo shoot with the beaker and everything.
Oh, I'm
just like
somebody has probably reverse Google image those pictures, and I'm sure they're just like stock photos. Yeah. But it does really seem like they are going to at least tease the idea of changing his fate. That happens all the time on Star Trek. They're always flying around suns and picking up whales, and Janeway is, just erasing 18 years of her future life.
Timey-wimey.
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think that they will do that to save this character but also preserve their brand? Or do you think that they will maybe try to do this, but it won't work?
I don't think they will, and here's why.
Okay.
If he was like, in 2 years, I'm going to be in a horrible, horrible accident, I'd be like, yeah, 100% they're going to pull something. But he's like, in 10 years, I'm going to be in a horrible, horrible accident.
Yeah.
And I don't really expect them to go for a full 10 seasons only to then make it so that Pike isn't running into the fire, so that they can do another 10 seasons
right
with a Pike that is living.
Yeah. I think the structure of, recent TV and recent new Star Trek shows, I think you're right. I think that this is a season arc, and whatever they do with it, I think will be done by the finale of this season.
Maybe.
Some people theorize that means, we've already established that this wouldn't make any sense in the timeline, but we're introducing a Kirk into the show. So like what, is Anson Mount's maybe he's in movies. I don't know. I can't talk about it, but he doesn't want to do this forever, right? I guess not.
He's such a good Captain Pike.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good on screen, and he said, I don't know if you recall, when we met the man at shore leave, one of the things he said to us was, I think I'm a better writer than I am an actor.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like, what is this man writing?
Yeah.
Well, because
that's a guy who doesn't have a kid. But now he's got a kid.
Anyways, I don't know. It would be great to get him in a movie. I wonder how long, like, what's the end game as far as the like new Star Trek universe, and like when they're gonna start like hitting theaters with movies, Yeah. Like I wonder how long, and I wonder what they're gonna do about the whole like JJ Trek thing. I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions. I think they could do an amazing movie.
Yeah. I think that there is still obviously Marvel, at the beginning of the show, we talked about Marvel not worried about it, but I think there's still a, non-permeable barrier between TV and movies in that, the Vampire Diaries, for instance, wraps up and the fans are like, now do a movie. And even though Vampire Diaries is very successful, went for like 9 years or something, they're like, yeah, but like we're trying to reach an audience who hasn't seen the Vampire Diaries. So do you think...
Well, the Downton Abbey movie comes out this month.
That's true. And I'm going to see it like I saw the last one.
Me too.
But I wonder if... Because I think that a movie based on any of the new Star Trek properties would be good and could work. But what if they began out of the gate with a Avengers-like thing where it involves every crew somehow? Do you know what I mean? Like
I just don't think that they don't have the audience for that yet.
Well, I mean,
don't you think?
Paramount Plus has like, I think they added 40 million subscribers last year. So like somebody's watching, like, people are watching.
But if you're looking at like, if you want to make like a summer blockbuster, like really blow the lid off of the box office.
Yeah.
You're looking at much bigger numbers than that.
Yeah. Well,
especially if you're trying to draw in people who maybe don't usually see Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like I feel like J.J. Trek was really, really successful in that, in getting people who aren't normally Star Trek people to be like, oh, I'm gonna see this movie, it's fun. Chris Pine's in it, whatever.
What if, just much like Viacom, CBS, and Paramount got together, what if they look at the current Kelvin timeline, much like the writers of the pocketbooks had to look at it and go, well, there's a new kid in town, so maybe it's time to bring that to a close. And they could do that by adding some element from new Trek to adding some new element, Michael Burnham, Pike and Spock or something, to like the Star Trek 4. Like it's supposed to be time travel, so somebody shows up.
I think,
and you can hand it off to the next generation, if you will. Star Trek 5 would not be Star Trek 5. It would be Star Trek now #1, something else.
I don't think I would survive a movie in which there's a crossover between J.J. Trek and any of the Star Trek series that we're watching now. I think my heart rate would hit 140 for the whole 3 hours, and I would have to say, please take me to urgent care.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
I think that Ethan Peck could take Zachary Quinto Spock. I think that Ethan Peck Spock could throw a meaner punch than Zachary Quinto Spock. And I say that knowing how feral Zachary Quinto Spock is.
Oh, yeah. He's got the crazy mad strength. Yeah. We'll have to see. We know that like our Spock knows Kung Fu, the Ethan Peck one, because he Kung Fu's those guys in the asylum. So let's talk about something else. Hey, racists. I noticed
episode when he was like, the pain is becoming unbearable, and he screamed for like 2 seconds. That's a badass move.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm in a lot of pain right now. You have to say that you're in pain a little bit though, or it doesn't matter. Dumb story. I was in a bar once up north, and they had one of those. They had a bar. It's important because now you can picture it. It's woodsy sort of setting, and they had one of these bar toys where it's like a joke or something, or it's like a test of strength. You grab this handle and it electrocutes you. It's not like wall current. It's just, but it like hurts. And so everybody was trying to do it, and I thought like I'm going to impress everybody, and I'm just going to hold on, and I'm just not going to let go until something goes wrong. And so I did it, but like. And I was doing it for like 10 minutes. I was doing it for like 10 seconds. And I was like, this really hurts. I can't feel my hand. But my friend's like, oh, it's probably not on. Let me turn it on. And he wasn't joking. Like, he just didn't know what I was doing. So like, I was enduring all this pain, and I didn't look tough. That everybody just thought that the toy was broke. So remember, you got to whine a little bit. You have to at least say, oh, I'm in a lot of pain. This is really bad. Yeah. Just to let people know. They're like, oh, he is in a lot of pain. That's like, I thought that was what Lon did, right? Because she's like, I just want you to know that however much this hurts, it's not going to bother me at all. right? But then it's just like a little prick. And she's like, oh, that's a lot of pain.
Oh, man.
Anyway, let's talk about the racists and how poor Mr. Kyle. Everybody doesn't know that Mr. Kyle was a character on TOS, apparently played by a white actor. I only recognize this because I am a TOS fan and I like a lot of the background actors and characters, but nobody seems to know that they've completely recast Mr. Kyle. And I like the new actor. I think he's great, but like John Winston was literally from England. Like he's just a white guy. So I just think it's funny. But are all transporter techs young wunderkinds? We see in
obviously,
the Kelvin films, I can do that. Chekhov runs off and does his thing. And now Mr. Kyle's like, oh, I can't get a lock on him. Hold on. So it's like, do you want that? It's kind of like, I need my kid to program my VCR for me or whatever it is, or set up my my Facebook. So you got to get a young kid in there to I'll do this.
They know their way around.
They just, tweet with one hand and you're just doing I got the lock on. It's fine. What else happened in the episode? So they bring Kirk along, George Samuel Kirk, and he gets zapped immediately. And then it's just dour Spock, dour Nudie and Singh. And then Uhura's like, oh, are we having fun yet?
Dude, Lon was like mean to her.
Tough Comet. Yeah, she was mean. Yeah.
When she was like, are we going to die or are you going to get us out of here? I was like, okay, let's maybe take a second. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no Gorns here. So maybe just settle down.
Right. Yeah. So I was like, I'm always looking out for these Gorns. Yeah.
Like, just take a deep breath. Right?
Yeah.
She's a kid.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. Open up the Clockwork Orange thing and in the middle of the Comet.
That's funny because I did a Goblet of Fire reference to the thing opening.
Okay.
Because it looks like the egg.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of look like it. But yeah, great set. Like I know that you can never really you never really know what's real and what isn't anymore. But like the set was like incredible. Like I couldn't tell. It just looked really great. Yeah,
it looks stunning. I did keep laughing though. I kept laughing because I felt like Spock kept coming out of nowhere. Yeah, like there'd be like camera panning and he would be like right behind Uhura, and I was like, where's he keep coming from? And my roommate went behind the green screen and I was like, hey, this is so far beyond green screens, you have no idea.
Yes. Yeah. He stepped out of the volume to take a leak. Yeah.
He kept just appearing behind her and I was like where's he coming from?
And I like that we get him in a classic Spock is going to do the Spock in a shuttlecraft. He's going to do the crazy thing all by himself as per usual.
Ethan Peck really ate this episode up. This is a funny episode for Spock.
Yeah.
I was going to tweet, probably I will tweet after this. I was going to tweet on my work account. I'm going to get, I love my job. I was going to tweet, it's a good day to be a Spock stan.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because it is.
He's turning the yoke of the shuttle. He's yoked. The shuttle's yoked. And he's
yoked.
And I like how they're like, we're not touching him. Just kind of heating it up.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that, we're like pre first season of TOS. We're pre General Order 1 is a thing. But I like that they're like, oh, the comet's going to hit the planet. All right, let's save him. This is a great job. I love this job. Let's completely save this planet. 100 years later, Picard's like, that's too bad about those purple heads, but that's the end of them. Yeah. But they're not even, they're just like, let's do it. Yeah. Here. Let's save them. Who cares? Yeah. So I thought that was good.
It was ordained
by
The Rock.
By The Rock. Speaking of which, yeah.
Dwayne.
They've probably created a religion though, didn't they? Like no, the purple heads the Comet.
They were
Comet.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
The Comet, it's all, what's the Comet's name?
It's like C-22 Blue 35 Hut Hike or something.
No,
it's called Quentin, isn't it?
The Comet?
Yeah, it's like 2260 Quentin or something like that.
No, it's the name of it. From the guy from Megamind.
Oh, from Megamind. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. It was like Manu eat. This is awful. I'm butchering this.
What they called it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's men is something. Did I write it down somewhere?
Yeah, well.
Now I need to know this. The Comet men is something.
Anyway, my joke is that it's not actually like the comet isn't ordaining, that it's saving people. It's just gathering more followers to its religion.
Yeah, just doing good works.
It's like one whole planet.
Right.
Hardly any work.
Send the check to the usual place. Manahit.
Exactly.
Yeah. The Shepherds of Manahit, which is my favorite prog rock band. Anything else?
First look at Hemmer.
Yeah, Hemmer's cool.
He was really cool.
I wonder. We don't know a lot about the Einar except for that pair of Enterprise episodes.
And he looked really scary.
But yeah, he's a real toughie. He's a real tough guy.
Mission Chicago.
Yeah.
I thought that thing was gonna grab me. I was in there by myself, and I was like, someone's in there.
Yeah. It just doesn't. I thought that Pike's solution was a good one, but as far as you could write your
Pike's
own
solution to gaslight the shepherds.
Yeah, I mean, so they can write their own Pike, right? We have one episode of Pike, or if you count the menagerie where he just beeps and boops. So like the Pike that they have is sort of I'm doing good stuff, and like the rules be damned if necessary. And sometimes that includes holding the holy object hostage because they fly right up to the comet and go, "You can't shoot us! You can't shoot us!" And it's like,
na.
Yeah, because you're standing in front of our holy object. That's not like really like.
Because you've got the Holy Grail.
That's not respecting our beliefs, but
yeah.
And I was a little surprised that they were surprised that, oh wow, comets can bring water to a planet. It's like the prevailing theory of the origin of life on Earth is that it was seeded by comets. That's where the water came from. So you think that a scientist would know that, space scientists.
Well, now put two and two together there.
A lot of knowledge lost in World War III and the Second American Civil War. So, stockpile your knowledge. Any last thoughts about the episode?
I really liked how Hemmer and Spock were like low-key besties.
Yeah.
That was really funny.
Yeah, as the two
Chapel
aliens.
coming on a little strong though.
Yeah. But they're like
not from a Spock standpoint, but from I want Chapel to be like a badass.
Yeah.
We don't need Chapel putting the moves on in the second episode.
Yeah, they pushed that a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll reach a breaking point. Maybe we'll find out.
He's gonna throw the soup.
Yeah, right. Maybe we find out why the soup gets thrown later. I did. Yeah. Somebody was asking. I was talking to somebody online, and they were talking about like, so like, how come, what's the deal with like Pon farr? Like, how come they can go out to eat? It's not Pon farr. And my idea was like, no, Pon farr is. We've only ever seen a Vulcan experience Pon farr when they're on a ship in deep space, far away from Vulcan and anybody else. I think day to day on Vulcan, Pon farr is just date night. Like that's when you like, just dress up and we're gonna go out, we're gonna have some dessert, and we're gonna have some dessert, and like, but otherwise, you just kind of like, day to day. So it sort of like builds up over time. So maybe this was like set the clock. All right, that was it. Now Spock's 7 years from now, we'll have to be back here.
Do you want to know the joke I told my roommate during this episode?
What?
Spock delivered his line, and I said, to her, and I said, Spock gave T'Pring some rigorous logic last week.
Yes.
And she just stood no reaction to the point where then I turned to look at her again, and she went, yeah.
That's what you do. I'll note that if the calendar year of this episode is 2259, in 7 years, it'll be 2266. The first season of Star Trek, the original series. So point is made, I think. Okay, all right.
It's like a period calendar, but for Spock.
Spock, delete it. Delete that Spock.
The math.
You got to delete it. Yeah. So anyway, I think we covered pretty much everything that we could. That is, I think we did. That is it for our show this week. But thanks for joining us, listeners. And if you like what you hear here, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter at EISTPOD for updates and to get notified when new episodes of both Enterprising Individuals, our main show, and this show, Discoverage, get released. You can tweet to us on the show by using the hashtag Discoverage, or you can email us at EISTPOD@gmail.com. And while you're on the internet, why not head to your listening platform of choice and subscribe to our show. Give us a rating and a review, because it really does help us out. And if you want to help the show grow, you can stop by our Patreon page at patreon.com/EISTPOD. And if you like the show, as always, tell a friend. Discoverage will return next week on May 19th at 8 p.m. for the third episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds' first season. It's an episode called Ghosts of Illyria, and we do have a synopsis. The synopsis is, Una must confront a secret she's been hiding when a contagion ravages the ship, incapacitating the rest of the crew. So, Naked Time, Naked Now, both very early on in the first seasons of their shows. I think I see the roadmap that we're following here, but that sounds very interesting. We'll be here next Thursday to cover it. We'll be going live once again at 8 p.m. Central, so you can join us then. And follow us on Twitter or Facebook at EISTPOD to get notified when we are live. In the meantime, you can check out our main show, Enterprising Individuals, at enterprisingindividuals.com. Every week on the show, I and a special guest discuss in excruciating detail a selected film from the Star Trek franchise, doing films this year. We also have news from the Trek Sphere and interviews with special guests. The show is off this week, but you can still hear my interview with Ben Harrison and Adam Pranica of the Greatest Generation podcast. We talk about Star Trek 4, and you can find that podcast and all of our episodes at EISTPOD on Twitter, enterprisingindividuals.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. That's it for us this week. Ella, thanks as always for joining me to talk about tonight's episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and remind people where they can find you online.
Thank you. My home podcast is called Generations Geek. And I also tweet for Star Trek Unlimited all the time and make TikToks and stuff like that. So everyone should follow us there.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me at @KA1IBAN on Twitter. And you can find all the shows on the Just Enough Trope Network at Just Enough Trope on Twitter. And that is it for us. Thanks for listening. We are signing off until next week. And this is Aaron for Ella saying, live long and prosper.